Hello everybody, it is Thursday the 21st of December. I want to talk about the Christ and the Antichrist, and I want to talk about worshipping in high places. Now, where do I start? Worshipping in high places. In the Bible, it is described, and the term is being used, people are worshipping in high places. And the God of this world, the God that is this world, that is grounded in this world, speaks against it. Yeah? Now, a lot of times, like the Chaldeans, for instance, they were described as people that worshipped in high places, and they sacrificed their own children. Yeah? Sacrifices, that sort of thing, is practice of the people that worship in high places. Now, with the Chaldeans, we already know, because we found their places of worship, that they were in fact on top of mountains or elevated. Moses went to the top of a mountain to have his mystical spiritual experience. Now, I would not put that away purely as allegory, because the elevated state, and I would say quite possibly the lack of oxygen, could create a brain state. Yeah? I mean, people say when you go up on top of a mountain, you start feeling light-headed. Again, the feeling of lightness. So I wouldn't say it is purely allegory. There is a physical effect there. You see, people are talking about the physical reality and the spiritual. No, that it is physical reality and spiritual reality that coexist in the same moment. They're two realities. So, I mean, I was thinking about this, yeah? And, this feeling of, and again, when you talk or listen to Joe Dispenza, it is an elevated brainwave state that you're going into, yeah? So there is a physical reality there that creates a spiritual experience. So go into that state until you are, do away with the ego. Do away with this pesky duality of the knowledge of good and bad. You are all. You are all there ever is and ever will be. Yeah? You're just elevating your spirit, your brainwaves, into all. Yeah? And you are completely free. And anything is possible. Just think about that. You no longer have the knowledge of this world. You're elevated above it. And then what? You can kill your own children. You can, like Jesus, self-sacrifice. I mean, at best that was assisted suicide. Like Abraham, you are willing to sacrifice your own son. Yeah? We can all go kill ourselves, kill each other, burn our children. And no, there will be no pain, and there will be no guilt, and there will be no tears. Because we are that far elevated above the knowledge of the ego that we know that matter no longer matters. Think about that. And then you are being preached that is the highest state of enlightenment that you can reach. That is enlightenment. That is the true knowledge. And here in the physical, where we actually care for one another, that is just a lower state of consciousness. No, do away with the mother, with the fathers, all these pesky personas. Yeah, do away with them. And you will be free to do whatever, to whoever. Think about that. Now, that is the extreme. There is a point before that that is light. Yeah? Jesus said, I bring the knowledge of the Father. He brought the knowledge. He brought the knowledge of that state. And he brought the knowledge that at a certain level it will create healing of the body. And that is good. I'm not speaking against that at all. That is good. But he did say it is a two-edged sword. It can cut both ways, good and bad. And that is if you go too far and then you go into Antichrist. You go in from the point that is Christ, that is good, that is the light, into the darkness again. Yeah, you're not getting more and more enlightened. You're actually going back into the darkness. You've shot past the point. You're going too far. That is Antichrist. Now, first thing that, again, when I listened to that Joe Dispenza interview, the first thing that caught my attention was that he said once you are in that state, you want to be in that state, and you would not want to leave that state for anyone or anything. So that means that in that state, the state itself already becomes more important than that what is around you. Even the state itself becomes more important than what it should serve. It is already elevated above what it should serve. And then if you go further, I have a feeling, again, I'm only speaking from feeling at the moment, but it feels to me like it is like a drug. Yeah? And then again, we know about drugs. You say, oh, I just take this little and I'm not going any further. That never happens. We all know that with drugs, over a period of time, you will have to increase the dose in order to get the hit, to feel that feeling. So will it drag you out? Will you have to increase the dose of that state? Again, it will drag you out toward Antichrist, away from the point of light. And one other thing I had thought, and that is again, a story of a near-death experience came back to me. And that was a woman, I think her car was blown up in a bomb somewhere. Yeah? And yeah, she did leave the body. She had an out-of-body experience. She went to a heaven. She had this experience of total connectiveness and of great love. And she went with those light beings that were around her, and they mutilated her physical body. And she said it was hilarious. We were all laughing so much. Yeah? They cut off her arm and did other things, and how funny it all was. Of course, she had to come back and live with the consequences, the physical consequences of that action. But at that moment, and again, there is this thing that you are inside of an energy, and your own energy is being swept away by that. Yeah, you're joining in. You're overcome by the energy of everything else around you, and you're joining in. You're getting carried away by the energy of the moment. And you're doing things that in physical life you would not have thought funny, but you were detached from that knowledge. Again, something Joe Dispenza is already saying. If you get enough people together we give that knowledge to each other. We elevate each other. You're getting swept away by the energy of the group. Folks, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying it's a two-edged sword, and that is exactly what Jesus said. Think about the consequences. Think about where you are going too far. Think about what it should serve. That knowledge was allowed in this world. In the Bible, it was allowed to enter into this world. Because it was good. But then it went too far. And then Jesus got kicked out of this reality. It takes you out of this reality. And again, I have people saying that, I don't know what I'm talking about because I never was in that state. True. And I keep telling you, I have been fighting this tooth and nail. I said, I need to know what it is I'm doing. I need to understand what this is. And maybe it is good that there are people like me that have not been in that state, but that can stand back as rational observers. Because obviously once you're in the group and in that state, you no longer know what you're doing. You're swept away by the energy of the moment. So maybe it is good that there are people that have not experienced that. If I had experienced that, maybe I would be like the others now, proclaiming how wonderful it is, and let's all go there. And again, no longer being rational about it. We have accounts in the Bible. Those are accounts of spiritual experiences. Yeah? They did not have the scientific words, but they did show cause, effect, outcomes. And that is the knowledge of the past, and we should learn from it. And again, even in the New Testament, it describes exactly that. The moment of healing, the coming together of groups, and then going too far in that Jesus completely detached and went and self-sacrificed. Again, a knowledge that is brought for healing, which is the Christ, drives you into the destruction of your own life or the destruction of the life of others. Then you're going into Antichrist. And this is the last bit. And that is, in that state, can you be commanded to do something by somebody who's outside of the group, who's not actually, or at least still in control of what he's doing. Somebody who's learned to enter into that state, but is still grounded. Yeah, he still knows what he's doing. And could such a person enter into such a group and then command people to do something? And again, look at the Bible. Yes, you can be commanded to do something that you would normally not do if you still have knowledge of self. But we're all being driven toward that. Like, that is the greatest state of enlightenment, when you are completely detached from this low-level vibration. This is sanity. This is the knowledge of good and bad. That is insane. That is going toward the state of psychopath. I'm not saying don't do it. But there is this big but. Consider the side effects. And then you would need to do this in a very controlled environment. And the people that get themselves in this state have to be extremely strong and grounded, not to be swept away by it. It's not give the knowledge to all. Again, I'm not sure that I would want it. I'm not sure I could stand up to it. And there'd be many that would not have the grounding of self to not be swept away into all. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm warning about possible side effects and consequences. And those are already described in the Bible. We have the knowledge of that. If we would just have the knowledge of good and bad and saying, if you're ordered to sacrifice your son and you are in a state where you joyfully and willingly do it, that is not a good state. That is not a high state of closeness to God. That is where you've lost the plot. But we are being taught good as bad and bad as good. We're being told the cross, go out there, self-sacrifice and leave this world behind. That is good. We all should get into that state. That is Antichrist. That is past the point of where it is good. But you're being taught good as bad and bad as good. It's upside down. And that your knowledge here, your own knowledge, is the lower state of consciousness. When we actually care for each other, when we want to hold on to each other, that is a lower state of consciousness. The higher state is where you are free to do whatever and it doesn't matter. That's lunacy. Anyway, folks, I leave it at that for today and talk to you again sometime. Bye.